Hi guys, so this is my video presentation about my culture and my family. My name is Tierney Webster, and I first wanted to start by saying that I am African American. I am black. I'm not really sure where my family is exactly from. Like, there's never been a conversation that we've talked about. We've never talked about ancestry or anything like that, and I know it's kind of weird, but I've never really even had the desire to figure it out. I figure, oh, I'm black, so I have to be somewhere. I have some type of African history, maybe some Caribbean. I don't know, but for me, the whole identity thing wasn't, as important. I know that I'm black, and I know what I believe in as an African American woman. And so I want to start by talking about my immediate family. So, in my immediate family, it's obviously my mom. One of my little brothers, he is 19, about to be 20. He is black, but he's mixed with Palestinian. So we look completely different, to say the least. He looks Middle Eastern because he is half Middle Eastern. Um, my mom's husband, Corey, and my two younger siblings, Reed, who is 6 years old, and my little sister, who just turned 4. So I could show you all of them. So here is a picture of my stepdad. This is Corey. This is my mom. She looks like this because these are her. This is from her wedding, and she had like a photo booth. This is my little brother that I was telling you about, Gabriel. He is mixed with Palestinian, and this is me. So these are just a few pictures from the wedding. I don't have many pictures here because they live in Tennessee, in Memphis, and I live obviously in Atlanta. Here are some more pictures of not exactly my immediate family, but like my cousin, one of my cousins, Kayana, my cousin Shaquille, who is actually related to Corey, my mom's husband. And I don't know if you can see these pictures down here, but this is my little brother Reed. I have other pictures of him, but I forgot to bring them over into the presentation. And here is my little sister. This is Harlem. She is 4 years old. She is such a bubbly personality, so full of life and spunk. And that's my immediate family. So there are, how many children? 4 children, my stepdad and my mom. My mom had me and my little brother when she had me when she was 14 years old. So I am a product of teenage pregnancy, and she had my little brother when Gabriel, the 19-year-old brother, when she was 18. So I grew up in poverty. Most of my family is still probably below poverty line. Very poor family background, no inheritance or anything like that. So I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and I didn't move to Atlanta until 2012 once I graduated high school because I knew for me, Memphis would never be something that, somewhere where I would want to live and grow, and because I knew everything that I've been through in the past. So, like I said, I grew up very poor. My mom was very young when she had us, so we didn't have much. But my mom is a psychotherapist now. She actually has her doctorate, and throughout all of her adversity, I feel like she's overcome so much as a person because she did have children very young, and just being able to see her grow as a person has been very fulfilling. I have a very strange family. Most of us do not get along, so we don't really talk that often. I communicate with my grandmother and my little uncle a lot, but not so much everyone else. There's a lot of family drama, family beef, to say the least. We do not get along at all. There's just, I don't know, and I think it all started like my great grandmother, she died in 2006, and I feel like that's when we really just like split apart, and everybody just started to fall apart. So I don't really have much contact with my other family outside of my, my siblings, my mom, my grandmother, and my uncle. And so, yeah, that's basically my family background. All of my family stays in Tennessee. They stay in Memphis. I'm the only person in Atlanta, so I'm here by myself. But I do have an amazing friend group. So, in this presentation, I just wanted to show some things that are like important to my family and how I was basically raised. So, I want to start with my Bible. It's kind of torn and falling apart now because I've had this Bible since 2005. I actually got it March 27th, 2005 when I was baptized. And I got baptized a year before my great-grandmother died. And so for me, religion has always been something that's important in my family and my tradition and how I grew up. My great-grandfather was the deacon of the church until this year. He was honored after he died in March. He died in March. He was 90 years old, and he's the reason that religion has been a big part of my life. He instilled so much in us about our faith. I am Southern Baptist. I'm a Christian. I strongly believe in Baptist culture. I think that of all the things that I've been through in my life, the one thing that's been steady has been, my faith and growing and learning more about my faith and what it means to me as a person and who Jesus Christ is to me. So my Bible is a big part of my life. Granted, I do not use this Bible as much anymore because it's like falling apart, and I don't want to lose the pages if I go to church or something. But this is like something that I would probably pass down to my children because I did get this Bible. My great-grandfather was there to give it to me, which makes this very special to me because, I'm sorry, me and him were very close and I miss him dearly. I really do. And because of him, I am as close to God as I am right now. And not as close as I want to be or should be. But I'm getting there and I'm working on that. And that's one thing that I know that I'll keep for the rest of my life. Because, so sorry. Because he means so much to me and religion was very important to him. Like I said, he was the deacon of our church for, I don't even know how long, since I was very young. And he taught me so much about prayer, about the power of prayer, about Jesus Christ, about the life and the death and the resurrection, of course. And I thank him for that because of that I have so much faith and I have so much hope. So when things go awry, I feel like I can turn to that. And I know this is the same for the rest of my family. Although, we don't get along or anything, one thing that we do have in common still is our faith. We are diehard Christians. We are Baptist Christians until the day that we die. And if you let us tell it, our Christian is the best Christian. But of course, we are all servants of God. So, another thing that's very important to my family is obviously our African culture. Granted, I don't think we exactly know where we're from or whatnot. I don't really know. But we definitely take pride in our culture and also feminism, which is why I have this shirt on, and I'll explain that a little later. But our African culture and our faith and our African culture, I think that we value being African American. Like, it's not just another thing for us. Like, it's very important. So I actually have this book. It's called African American Psychology Review, and it was written by one of my professors at Spelman. Her name is Angela Ferris Watkins. She is actually the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I had the pleasure of having her as a professor. Excuse me. And so this book basically talks about Black psychology and what it means to be Black in psychology. and our worldview about things. And so the book goes into detail about psychologists that were influential in Black psychology, such as Wade Nobles, and it talks about the difference between Afrocentric and Afrocentric, and how some Black Americans or Black people relate more to Afrocentric, which is the notion that you believe in African culture, but you also accept your American culture. Whereas you have some people who are completely Afrocentric, who denote any American culture and strictly believe in African culture. I would say that I am more Afrocentric, whereas I have family members who are more Afrocentric. Um, and I just think that's what people choose to believe. Like I don't feel that I can denote what I've learned in America because that's where I've been raised my entire life. Although I have some family members who've been raised here their whole entire lives and they are completely Afrocentric, and I just think that it's a wonderful thing to even like have this book to be able to go back into. It goes into the history of African American psychology and our motherland, Africa, Egypt, and the history behind Egypt and the queens and the kingdoms and the different kingdoms that formed and the origin of African psychology. And so I keep this. I've actually shared this with my family, and I've ordered them copies because you can order this book from Spelman College. I think that's the only places you can get it from, actually. But that's another thing that's very important to my culture. Our African heritage, where we come from. Like, granted, like I've said before, we don't really know exactly where we're from, but we have an idea that obviously we're African in some type of way. And another thing that I wanted to talk about was education. Education is also another thing that's very important in my culture, to say the least. Since we grew up so poor, and most of my family is poor, the one thing that some of us have is our education. Granted, most of my family did not go to college. There's only about a handful of us, and I think my mother was probably the first person in my family to ever go to college. And then you have me and my little brother, and I think one of my cousins or something. But education is always important, and I know that if my family could afford better education, then they would get that, because I've talked to them and I've sat with them, and that was just never an option for them because they don't necessarily have the funds to do so. So when I graduated Spelman last year, so this is my degree. I don't even think I've taken it out since I've gotten it. It's crazy because I paid all this money for it. But this is my degree from Spelman from last year, and everybody was very proud of me because, like I said, education is important. That was our way out. That was the only way that we would get out of the hood, get out of the ghetto, and that was my way out. That's how I left Memphis. Granted, my mom doesn't like live in the ghetto or anything anymore, but the most of my family does. And the way my mother got out of poverty was by going to school. She had 2 young kids, and she knew that she needed to get an education to build a better future for us. And so that's what I'm doing. I feel like education is so important because I see my family now, and I see that without that education, they don't have as many opportunities as other people, and they could if they had the education. But they don't have that opportunity, so they're not. A lot of the things that I'm getting, they don't get. So, because I have this education, I have an undergraduate degree. I graduated from high school, and now I'm about to graduate from my master's program in the next year. I think that it's opened up so many doors for me. And I've always talked to my family about education and how it's important for us to get that education. And the ones that can, we definitely do. And the ones that can't, it's saddening because it's like you want everybody to be able to have the same opportunities that you do if we're in the same family, but it just doesn't work out quite the same. And I also have my tassels from high school, And college. This is my high school one from 2012. And then I have my college tassel, which is a hot mess right now, from 2016 last year. So I have these because, like I mentioned in the video, a lot of my family didn't really get the education that they want or that they deserve. I would necessarily say most people in my family didn't get to high school tassel. So there are a lot of, I don't want to say illiterate people in my family, but uneducated people because they never got the high school diploma for various reasons, whether it was teenage pregnancy or other different factors that contributed to them dropping out of high school. And there's only a handful of us that ever got a college tassel. And so one thing that my great grandparents stressed was our education. And my great grandparents are deceased now. My great grandfather, he died in March, like I mentioned, but at the age of 90, so he lived quite a while. But education was always important, especially in my immediate family. There was no choice. My mom said, "You're going to college. You're going to finish high school. You will not be like everyone else." So education is very important to us, and I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. And so those are the things that I feel like are the most important aspects of my culture and my heritage. Oh, and this shirt. So in my immediate family, in my friend group, which I consider family too, obviously a part of the African culture, we accept, people from down the street, they're family too. So my friends are all my family, and we have this belief in feminism. And so I said to sum this up, I would just wear this shirt, what feminism means to me. And the shirt says, "Feminism is the radical notion that women are people too." And I think that is so powerful because it's really that simple. It should not even be difficult. It should be that simple. Women are people, period. And I also have an article that I found here, and it's about religion and strategies for coping with racial discrimination among African Americans and Caribbean blacks. I chose this article because I know that for me, when I've gone through different things, religion has been one of my coping strategies. I go to church, I go to Bible study, church on Sundays, whatever services that we would have during the week. That was my coping strategy. So I found this article to be very important, and it hit on some important points for the black community, because most times black Americans don't seek counseling. We turn to family, our faith, our religion, people in the community, instead of seeking counseling, and before we even get to counseling. So I'm going to actually send that article over to Dr. Knapp. If anybody else wanted to see it, then I'll be glad to send it. And at the end of this, I'm actually going to insert a video. And the video is going to be about different experiences I've had as a black woman in America, the discrimination, the racism, the stereotypes. So I'm going to insert that video. Thank you.
Gentlemen, please welcome Ernestine Johnson.
They say I'm not the average black girl because I'm so well-spoken, poised, full of etiquette, a white man's token. I remember my ex's mother telling me I didn't know how I was going to react when he brought home a black girl, but I like you because you talk so white. Well, when did me talking right equate to me talking white? They say I'm not the average black girl. No, not the average black girl, because the pigment of my skin is just a shade lighter than that black girl over there. The black girl over there, the black girl with the nappy hair, the black girls whose elbows can't skip a day without lotion, whose hearts and heads are filled up with self-hate and bottled up emotion. The cocoa brown girls who have to face society every day and be tough, because no matter how good they straighten their hair, their good is still not good enough. Oh, see, luckily for me, I don't fall in that category. They say I'm not the average black girl because I speak with so much class, and I don't have too much, but just enough ass, and not too much, but just enough pizzazz. You know, just a little bit of attitude. Because you don't want to come off as one of those average black girls and come off as rude. You know, popping their gum and shaking their neck. Yeah, because those black girls get, like, no respect. But see, luckily for me, I get a pass. Because the melanin in my skin matches that brown paper bag. And my father, brother, and men that I date, pants don't sag. And when I speak, my tongue pronounces every syllable. And the combed part down the middle of my hair is naturally visible. Oh, it must be a weave, but she must be mixed. Because we all know the average black girl ain't got that good. Or when I walk into a room full of white men, they all stare. It must be the long lengths of my unaverage black girl hair. See, they say I'm not the average black girl because I corrected the professor when he used the word conversate. Converse. The word is converse. And in case you didn't get the memo, there are now 8, not 9 planets in the universe. And when you're watching the numbers on your stocks move up and down, remember Oklahoma, in a small town, where one of the first Wall Streets was a black Wall Street that got mysteriously burned down. Oh, they say I'm not the average black girl. Well, let's flip the script and rewind this, repaint the lines that had been blurred over time, because the average black girl that I know, the average black girl that I know made 19 trips through the Underground Railroad to free the slaves. Sat on segregated buses, refused to get up and pave new waves. See, the average black girl that I know were Egyptian queens like Hatshepsut and Nitocris, who were ruling dynasties and whole armies of men. Excuse me while I set fire to this poem on my pen, because I am tired. Tired of the stereotypes black girls have fallen into because of American mentality. Oh, but not half as tired as Ella Baker, Diane Nash, Septima Poinsett Clark. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Miss Fannie Lou Hamer, Daisy Bates, Anna Arnold Hedgeman, and Dorothy Height are far more tired than I am. But do you think the ones who say I'm not the average black girl even give a damn? No. So pardon me if I can't openly accept your compliments. Pardon me if I can't openly accept your compliment. It's just the average black girl that I know. The average black girl that I know had courage that surpassed her every fear and fought for justice and equality year after year. So as I construct these words, pardon me as I shed a tear, because I'm not half the black girl she was. I am not half the black girl she was. See, there's a minor clause. See, she was out there fighting, breaking, and changing laws. So I bow down to my black queen standing in the merit of her work. And as America's society continuously throws these supercilious words unto me, I say no. I'm not the average black girl. I can only aspire to be. Thank you.
That's Ernestine Johnson.
Thank you.
You're busy.